It's change?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So this is one picture from Vietnam, Nha Trang airport. So you can see in the beautiful blue oceans and with lot of dot. Okay. So what are these things? These all things are basically artificially, but not the artificial reef. It's mariculture, okay, which is also artificial. So artificially, we need to manage the resource because there are a lot of artificial resources required because we have a huge population growth. We have to feed almost 10 billion people globally. So there is no options that natural harvestation is not enough to feed these 10 billion people globally. So that's we have to think other alternative, that is artificially culture. So that's the one example of artificial culture. But this artificial, there is a lot of controversy between this natural and artificial. So people are talk about this artificial things are not that much hampering ecosystem. A lot of things are there. So how we can make this artificial reef or whatever it is, artificial culture or whatever it is, make sustainable to the whole globe. So to make it, we have to think about these three pillar of the sustainability. It should be socially viable, environmental bearable, or economically equitable. So these three pillar, if you address equilibrium between the human need and the natural need, so these two will be equilibrium, then I think it can be sustainable management of these natural resources. So let's start the artificial reef. I hope you know about artificial reef. That is a artificial structure that's basically embedded into under oceans to enhance the basically enhance the fish stock. So primary impact of artificial reef is to enhance the fish stock. Okay, so because artificial reef can, as we all know that any reef system basically very high in biodiversity, very high in productivity also. So these are the not natural reefs, human-made different structure that are put into the under of the oceans, and that will create artificial reef and to enhance the fisheries productivity, enhance the tourism. So a lot of things we have a positive impact of this artificial reef. We'll see that throughout the whole lectures. So it's basically it's a not only some of the study basically they focus on that artificial reef. They told that artificial reef is basically only enhance the fish stock. Okay, but recent study we also did in our region, we find out that not only it's a enhancer of the fish stock, it can also act as a nursing and breeding ground. We have found lot of juvenile fish and that found in this system. So it can also act as a breeding ground and nursing ground in a marine ecosystem. So it's basically enhance also the coral growth. So I mean, natural coral growth is globally, coral is one of the most threatened ecosystem and most fragile ecosystem. So artificial reef also reduce the impact on or the reduce the pressure on the natural reef. As we can know that the where is the globally high productivity of coral reefs is there, the tourism is also developed, and due to human intervention or due to the tourism, those corals are hampered a lot. If you go to this in India, the Andaman and the Lakshadweep, the peoples are going Andaman only to see the reef ecosystem. So tourism also impact a lot. So if instead of natural reef we can create artificial reef, that will also enhance the tourism and that reduce the pressure on the natural reef. So this is the idea of behind the artificial reef create, and so it also helps to research. Different research can be going on it, and lot of and also help can be research teaching purpose, and also we will see all those three pillar starting from the ecological point of view, then how it is enhanced the social point of view, and what is the fisherman perspective. At the end, we will see the how that tourism can gain from this artificial reef structure. So in Oman, we have a huge artificial reef along the coastline. So different types of shape can be used in this artificial reef. We have a box shaped, then dome shape. It's very popular and widely used and very old structure. That's called reef ball or dome shaped. Then recently we have created new other structure also. We'll discuss on that next slide. So here this artificial reef basically created by Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and Water Resources. They have started this artificial reef creation in all over the Oman coast starting from 2003. Until now, we have almost 14,000 artificial reef structure along the coast, and one of the highest artificial reef is belonging having 10,000 unit of artificial reef that is in Suez in North Sea of Oman, and that is the highest even in the Gulf region. Okay, so it's largest fishermen in this region, so that's why, and the fishing productivity is reduced in this part. So to enhance the boost the fisheries, ministry imposed a huge amount of money and also installed almost 10,000 unit of artificial reef in this region. So these are the new structure. We see the previously dome separate this pyramid, this thing. Then the new high yield or very big structure we have introduced. First is the Arabian pyramid. That's almost 2 meter in height and 1.4 ton in weight. Then we have introduced fish cube. That is also 3.6 meter wave, almost 10 ton or 9 ton in weight. And then Oman offshore model, both Arabian pyramid and fish cube model. These are the basically concrete, but the Oman offshore model that is basically metal, and that is huge, almost 20 ton in weight and almost 8 meter in height. These three structure are basically, you see the structure is improved the size 2 meter, then 3 4 meter almost, and then 8 meter. So we place this all those structure into according to deep. So in the shallow region, we place this 2 meter artificial reef, that's Arabian pyramid. Then the medium depth, we put this fish cube, and then very deep area we put that 8 meter Oman offshore model. So this is the Suez artificial reef, that's 20,000 unit is established there. So as I told you, the started the project of establishing artificial reef in 2003, and till now we have 18,000 unit, and total cost we have spent almost 10 million US dollar till now. And so you see the annually how it's, and the highest is involved in 2020, and the new plan is also going on. So maybe in next 1 or 2 years we are putting more effort on this artificial reef. And this is not only Oman, in all the Gulf region they are also imposing a lot of artificial reef. And also I know that in India there's in Gulf of Mannar, I think a lot of artificial reef can be created, already created in this region. So here is some of the pictures of reef bowl, that is 2003 structure in Sohar region in the Sea of Oman. You see that how rich in the left picture, you can see that how rich in the biological diversity in the coral and the other associations. And these are the sonar pictures that showing that rib ball you can see in the sonar scanning. So the presentations of the rib ball in the oceans. The actual plan I can show you in the previous slide. Here in this slide in down pictures you can see that this is the actual plan was that Arabian pyramid. Then we have the this cube, and then offshore model. So it's a shallow, then medium, then deep region. So it should be aligned in a particular scale or the in the region, but it's in reality it is not that much easy to put all those things into a sequentially. And so it makes a haphazard structure. So even the old structure you will see in the rib hall, that is also sometimes it's clapped, and some of the place is empty, and then so it's a drop haphazardly or randomly. So it's a big effort to put those huge 10 ton, 20 ton, 8 ton structure into the sea. So here some of the pictures that during the put those structure into the oceans, dumping those things, and It was very recently 2020. So we did our study starting from this, I think 2019 to 2020. Then we have start our work. So this is only 6 year old. So we'll see all those factors on based on this ecosystem on that Suez artificial reef. So this is the area. It's almost a 20 kilometer by 7 kilometer. So almost 140 square kilometer area that have I mean all the artificial reef will be put it in this Suez area. So first we look at the ecological assessment. So we try to figure out that how mature the ecosystem. So as it is very new, so we start our work. The reef was created in 2019 or 2020. We start our study in 2021, 2022. So only 1 2 years. So we want to see that how that ecosystem is matured or this other ecological functional interaction between the species. So we did a ecopath model on this ecosystem on 77 kilometer by 20 kilometer. So 140 square kilometer area. So we did EcoPath. That's a free open source tool that can be used in the marine ecosystem to understand the ecological characteristics or ecosystem impact on the fisheries also. So it's find out the trophic interactions, energy flux, and also identify the different important group functional groups, maturities of this ecosystem. So different ecological answers these tools can give it to you. So we have that the background of this ecopath is approach is very simple. We have a biomass of the functional groups. We have to create the functional groups. I'll show you the functional group later on. Then we have to know the productions and consumptions. So production, consumptions, and biomass, and then we need the diet compositions. Means who are eating to whom, at what percentage. Okay, and then ecotropic efficiency. That is basically the other mortality. That fish is die due to two mortalities is there. One is the fishing mortality that due to the harvestations, due to human capture of the fisheries sector, and another one is the basically natural mortality. Fish die by their own predation, disease, or those other factors. So all those functional groups, we have to calculate the biomass, we have to calculate their productions, we have to find out their consumptions, how much they consume, and we have to find out their diet composition, I mean who is eating to whom at what percentage. And these are the basically input of this basic input of this particular model. So ecopath model is require data hungry. It's need lot of data. So in this model, we have used 38 functional group. Then the study period is almost a year, 2021 to 2022, end of 2022. And as I told you, total area is 140 square kilometer. And we find out very important coral associated species. And among the all the 38 species, it's starting from the primary producer, that is the phytoplankton, the zooplankton, and it goes the upper tropic level to the top predator in the system, that is the shark. So here I think is the all 38 functional groups starting from the phytoplankton, detritus, so benthos, and corals, invertebrates, and lot of coral associated species, and the top predators are can raise. So among the 38, 37 are living. Only one is dead, detritus, that is non-living functional groups. And producer, we have corals, phytoplankton, they are producer in the system. And top predator, obviously the shark can raise in that ecosystem. Then we need to collect the data. As I told you, it's data hungry. It's required a lot of data. It's need the biomass, then production, diet data, then population parameter data, lot of data consumptions. So that's why how to calculate the biomass. We use the trap. So we put the trap in this region, and so we calculate the total area of the trap, and then each and every species we estimate the weight, and that weight can be converted into total area. So we get the biomass of this each and every functional group. And later on also we calculate all the population parameters that are basically proxy of the production and consumptions, just like the total mortality, then the consumption, so that can be easily calculated from these normal population parameters. So we need to capture all the fees, and then we have to measure them, calculate the biomass, calculate the consumptions, and also some of the species also used to diet compositions. So after getting the data, we start balancing, we start putting the model, and we have seen so before balancing the model. So this is the pre-balance diagnostic. So here we have to see that the biomass productions and consumption. So these are the basically all the input parameters, and how those input parameters will be basically balanced in the model. So to make the model balance, we have to keep the ecotropic efficiency, that is the mortalities, basically other mortalities, it should be within 0 to 1. So if it is more than 1, the model is not balanced. So we have to change the biomass, change the productions, consumptions, or maybe diet to make it balanced. And obviously, the very basic concept, the productions and consumption, that will also calculate the respiration later on also. So that production over consumption, that ratio should not be exit. So production cannot be more than the consumptions. Okay. So if it is the case, then negative expressions will be come out. So that is not the situation. So we have to also in along with the ecotropic efficiency balancing the model, we have to check the production by consumption ratio should be 0.05 to 0.3. That is one of the approach to balance the model, because the production cannot be more than the consumptions at 30%. So that is the balancing the model. And after balancing the model, we start working to estimate all the ecological parameters that will address different ecological issues, ecological questions. So it able to estimate the total system throughput, then total system throughput by total production by respiration, film cyclic index, how good your system in recycling the energy. Okay, if a very matured, well-established system is very good in recycling the energy from when after the death of the organism, so it's very easy to recycle. And the FCI ratio is basically tells about the maturity of the ecosystem, and a lot of others indicator, ecological indicator also address a lot of ecological questions. System omnivore index, as too much omnivore index will be high, that means that all the species, they are basically omnivorous in nature. So that will make the species are very much interaction to each other. So suppose I give you one example. If the species is not very selective in food habit, suppose I talk with Saurabh in another session with the phytoplankton and the cyclone. So in that case, that some of the species, they are very restricted their food habit. They are basically particular species of plankton they are eating, so they are very restricted on the feces on their diet. So if you are restricted your diet, if there is any disaster will happen, so then your food can be vanish, and then your overall population will be declined. So it's obviously that if omnivore index will be increased very high, so obviously the chance of survival of any disaster, after any disaster, it will increase. So system omnivore index, if it is high, means the system is very much matured and well established. So the food oil and very complex interactions between the species. So those are the very ecological address questions can be addressed. Then the tropic level, as we all know that there is a famous theory of the fishing down the food web, Pauli's, and recently the scientists, they also not agreed on that theory also. So we have to know the what is the tropic level of the of the whole functional group, and also the mean tropic level of the function, that will of the ecosystem, that will address that whether the ecosystem is mean well matured or not. Then we have another topic in mixed topic interactions. That is also how the each and every species are impacting to others. Okay, so that we will see in the results also. So here is the interactions between the species, or I can say the trophic flow or flow diagram between the species. So you can see The volume will be biomass is a indicator about the volume of the each and every group. And on the left axis means the y-axis, it shows the trophic level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see that each and every species and how they are related to each other. From energy, it goes to from one species to another species, and how it reach to the phytoplankton to shark. And then you can do the network analysis out of it also. So that is also very interesting. That will be another wing of the that modeling system. You can easily estimate the network, how many networks. So as that means that the from phytoplankton to, suppose one example you take it, from phytoplankton to be the sclerophase, this species. So how many path it reach to energy from here to here. Okay, so it reached to from here to here to here to here, one path, and then here. So different. So that network analysis is also can be done from these tools. And so this is a flow diagram, and it's, you see that it's very complex, and there is a lot of interaction between the species, and that will make the connectivity between the species. Then transfer efficiency, as in our childhood we read about the transfer efficiency. You know the Lindemann. If you are a biology student, or even in the class 10, 12, you read about the Lindemann. So Lindemann is basically gives that how the energy transfer from one topic level to another topic level, and we know that 10% law of Lindemann. So as usual, 10% is the standard rule, but it can be varies ecosystem to ecosystem based on the maturity of the ecosystem. So in this ecosystem, you will see that energy goes to primary producer, to secondary consumer, to tertiary, to then the next to next, and how much energy transfer through the predation, through the export, through the flow to the detritus, how much energy lost through the respirations, how much energy lost to the death of the organism, so to the detritus. So all the amount of energy can goes to from one topic level to other area. Then here is the transfer efficiency, that is basically 10% law we have no. So here we find out that whole ecosystem of artificial reef of Sea of Oman is total transfer efficiency is 6.6, almost 7%. So it is not approaching 10%. It's not an issue, but it means that the ecosystem is not that much matured. So it's not give you the 10%. Some of the ecosystem very high matured, that can gives you more than 12, 13, 15 even transfer efficiency. Now, this picture is showing the mixed topic impact. So here how the each and every functional groups. So here is the, you see that this matrix between the 38 functional groups, how they are interact to each other, and how the positive impact to some of the functional group and negative impact to some of the functional groups. So the red color is giving you the negative. So that means they are basically taking from the system. So if you see that mid region or the top region, you see a lot of reds, and in the lower region, where basically the lower invertebrates or the phytoplankton, zooplankton, the producer, they are giving very much positive impact to the system, because they are basically the giving to the energy to the whole ecosystem. And in other way, that the top predators or the high trophic level fish, they are basically consumed from the system, so they are giving negative impact to the ecosystem. Now is the niche overlap. We read about the ecological niche in our study book. So ecological niche also. So how the species they have the same habit and habitat. So that based on their food habit, and also based on their where they lived. So here prey and predator overlap index. So it means that in the upper right here, those species, they are basically very highly overlap index, means they are basically very similar species. I mean their habit and habitat are very much similar. And in the lower down corner here, this you will find out the very low prey and predator overlap index. So it means they are very much dissimilar species. I mean their food habit and also their habitat, I mean where they live, that's are basically different in nature. Then some of the statistics, overall summary statistics of the whole ecosystem. So it's talk about lot of things. Here you can see that total consumption, then consumption over respiration ratio, mean trophic level is almost 3, so it's almost a medium trophic level. You cannot say it's a low, it's a medium trophic level system. System omnivore index is not that much high. Connective index, how the species are connected to each other's connective index. System omnivore index, cyclic index, fin cyclic index is a little bit more or less high. So overall, all those indicators basically reflect the ecosystem structures and ecosystem health and ecosystem stability. So all those results basically we find out from the whole study. It's indicate that the this artificial reef ecosystem is it's not that much matured. It's need time to mature. So as P cyclic index is 5, that is not that much high. Also, the transfer efficiency is also not that much high. It's a below normal. So that energy is not properly transferred from one topic level to another topic level. The interaction between the species is still now not building, because yes, it's a very much young ecosystem. It need more time to be matured and to be stable. So next, we did one study in how different underwater methods can use to identify the fisheries abundance. Okay, so that we did in other part of artificial reef ecosystem in the Sohar, and there we use different fishing independent and dependent methods to estimate the abundance of the fisheries. So how is the artificial reef is basically enhance the fish stock or not? So that questions is addressed. So we use fisheries dependent and independent both the methods. Fisheries dependent methods we use the trap, and fisheries independent methods we use the camera, underwater videography, underwater camera. We use two methods, one is the dubs and one is the brubs. So dub is basically diver operated videography, and brubs is the baited camera. That camera will be fixed underwater. So both the methods we apply, and we get the biomass, and then we convert, we get basically the catch. So the catch per unit effort, we can convert it into as a proxy of biomass. And then we find out the most important species of this whole study is Lucianus, and then we find out its growth structure and some of the community compositions and species diversity in this ecosystem. So as I told you, we use fisheries independent dependent method. In independent methods, we use the Brabs and Taps methods. These are the very well known and well established methods in globally in running the ecosystem, means underwater study and especially any kind of study. So one is the camera will be fixed, that is the baited camera. So it's no diver needed, so it will be fixed underwater. So there is a disturbance will be less. And in case of baited camera, so there is a holder. One diver will hold the camera, and it will capture the total area and then capture the biomass, all the videography. Then after that, we will do the analysis of the video and pictures in different software. In trap data, whatever we have received the fish, we measure them, we take the picture and then we analyze, because it's very difficult to estimate one by one. So we use the image software to estimate the length of that particular fish. And then this baited underwater videography, it's a very high 4K resolution camera, and that is the all details of this methodology. 5 meter by 50 meter, we use three transects, and we have take the videography every minute during the shot. And after that, after getting the video, and we use that event measure software. That's a very costly software, but now is the AI tool is came, so it is much more easy to analyze the video underwater videography, and those underwater drone also came. So from this videography, that you can measure the number of piece, length of the piece, and then length can be converted into the weight, and then you can calculate the biomass of this each and every group. Now we find out, we did the study in the different depth and different categories of the reef. So we have deep region, shallow region, and natural reef also, as a compare that how artificial reef and natural reef is varies or not. And also we take in different size, not age of the reef. That old means it is almost 10 to 12 years artificial reef, middle age, and young age. And then we find out the catch fire unity part is basically the biomass in that all three region is the deep area. We have a lot of biomass, but in compared to natural, deep and shallow both are basically from the artificial reef. Okay, and natural is the natural. Okay, natural reef inside there is a natural reef. Oman is also very much good in natural reef. Lot of foreign tourists, they are coming to see underwater corals, natural corals of Oman. Oman is very rich in coral diversity. So next we have a natural reef. So we compare the artificial to natural, but as usual that artificial reef is having high CPV in compared to natural. And also the old system is more catch, more CPV. Obviously it's more matured, more stable, and more fish accumulated in this region. Then we try to figure out that artificial and natural, that different format in different season also, and different methods. So brabs and dubs and trap and different summer and winter. Then we find out it's very obvious that you will find out, see that artificial and natural having two distinct separate groups. So in the trap it is also separate. See all those data from the artificial reef is totally distinct from this natural reef in case of trap in summer. In case of dove, that is also diver operated. That is also, you can see, very distinct. Artificial reef and natural reefs as totally separated in the community structure. And also in winter season, in brabs and doves in winter, that is also very dominant. That you find out very distinct difference between the community structures between artificial reef and natural reefs. Then, according to depth, deep, shallow, natural, that is also in some of the part in the trap data. It's not that much separate, but still that natural and then deep and shallow is also separate. Here is also in the doves in summer. That is also very distinct. Three different distinct community structure you will find out in this graph. Only in case of these two, but again also the natural and artificial is separate. So as I told you, shallow and deep, these two are the basically artificial, and natural is natural. So it's don't have any distinct deep categories. But it is very obvious that they are distinctly separated. And so the community structure in between that all those methods, all the season having different and distinct in natures. Then we find out the some of the particular economic important species in that particular area, that Lurginus, very dominating species. And the deep shallow natural, so we'll find out the length size group, but it's very dominant in the deep size. And mainly you can find out it is very young and juvenile fish is captured a lot. So as I told you that the artificial reef is not only enhance of the fish biomass, it also act as a nursing ground. So as you see, the lower size of the fish, 12 13 centimeter, is very high in the capture, whereas the higher fish is not found in that reef area, because they will go to the open seas like this. So so it's also act as a nursing and breeding ground of that ecosystem. Then we have find out different species compositions or family compositions. So Lutgenus is the dominating in all the three methods, trap, doves, and brubs, Lutgenus. And in the bobs, in baited camera, carrying ready might be this species is not that much, means cannot feel the human presence, because baited camera it is so it's present there, but in the trap it's not there. So it's there, but it's not that percentage. So it may be sensitive to the presence of human. Then go to the next part of this things, that is the social assessment of this artificial reef structure. That is a very interesting study we did in this area. We try to figure out that what the fishermen think about the artificial reef. Okay, so artificial reef is basically not a new initiative or new science or new science, not especially the in this region, even the other part also globe, the fishermen they put any kind of structure into the ocean. They are dumping those structures. They know those structures will enhance the fish. They create a reef. Just as I told you that some of the country, I heard that news that intentionally they are dumping the abandoned ship. Intentionally they are dumping the abandoned ship into the oceans, because it will create a very good reef structure, and very good species compositions, and species community will be formed in this artificial reef. So so that social assessment of artificial reef, what we did, we asked the fishermen different questionnaire survey, and we try to figure out that whether the fishermen different aspects of their, so fishermen how they are willing to participate the management methods, and they know about the artificial reef or not. They are happy with the ministry project of this artificial reef or not. So what the fishermen think, what the thought about this artificial reef. So that is the main idea of this whole study. uh, we started a local community, fishermen community of that particular area where is the artificial reef established, that the 140 square kilometer of the largest artificial reef in this region. We go there and we ask the fishermen one by one questionnaire survey, and we prepare a, so we understand, try to understand their thought and their understanding about the artificial reef. So three objectives we have assigned for this particular overall main goal. We try to figure out that presence of artificial reef project. They know that whether ministry have imposed a almost huge amount of money they have invested in this region for that. So the fishermen they know about it or not, and then we try to understand that long term significance. They know what is the importance of artificial reef or not, and also that they're willing to part of this management of the artificial reef along with the ministry. So that is also very much that community participations in the management. Okay, so that is very much essential part of that. Yesterday while I talk about, I listened that first inaugural session, and I find out that yes, that oceanography is basically science of ocean, but you cannot delete the human dimension. Okay, it's not the raw science. Okay, so human is part of very big part of this system. So that social science is also very big issue in the real science. So whenever you are basically doing a lot of typical I mean critical solid science, but you cannot omit the human dimension. So here we have surveyed among 92 fishermen. We did a face-to-face interview, and after that we have validated the questionnaire, and we create a validations. Then we did a 5-point scale, Likert scale, 1 to 5 scale questionnaires, and we give it to the fishermen. And then after getting the survey, we did the analysis. So as I told you, that whole project we have three hypothesis. First hypothesis that fishermen opinion or their understanding or their opinion about the acceptance of ministry artificial reef project in that particular area. Second hypothesis is they know about that artificial reef long term importance or the long term significance of artificial reef in this particular area. And the third objective was that fishermen they wants to be part of this management plan or not. Okay. So in this overall profile among the 96 fishermen, we find out that most of them in Oman, the fishermen are basically they have alternative jobs also. So they are basically part time and sometimes they are doing fishing also. So not all the fishermen is 100% fishermen. Okay, they have a part time. So here you can see 50%, almost 50% fishermen having part time and full time. And as I told you that in Oman, first slide I can show you here. It is not a new artificial reef. So the fishermen they are basically dumping those kind of structure into the open oceans. It's a long back in historical. It's not a new thing. Okay, in this particular region, even in the other part of the world also. So they are dumping tires, they are dumping other structures, log, different structure, but those structures are basically sometimes harmful to the ecosystem. So this tire can be degraded and that can be impact on this ecosystem. Okay, so that's why the ministry are to stop this traditional artificial reef. They created this huge investment to create this ministry artificial reef, that is the structural artificial reef, not this traditional dumping of any kind of waste into the oceans that will hamper the ecosystem. So to stop this traditional artificial reef, the ministry create this artificial reef. So that three questions you will find out that among the 55 percent of the fishermen, they have this their own traditional artificial reef. Okay, so that's why very high percentage of the, not very high I can say, but yes, in compared to the overall, they have their traditional artificial reef. And in terms of education qualifications, it is very interesting that most of the fishermen they are basically having the general diploma or secondary diploma. So that is very interesting because if they are educated fishermen, so they know the things. Okay, so and while they give you the questionnaire survey, they give you the answers. At that time you can also satisfied that their answer is well, because they are educated, so there will be not bias. Suppose that's why we have to validate the questionnaire. I'll show you in the next slide. And another important thing is the experience. You can see that above 20 years experience having the highest percentage of the fishermen. So that is very interesting that educated and experienced fishermen are giving the answer to your questions. Okay, so that means your whatever questions, I mean answers or survey you did, that is you can rely on it, and that rely how to get this reliability. That's why you have to do a convex alpha index analysis. Convex alpha index analysis is very simple. I already discussed I think here. So validation questionnaire of convex alpha index analysis, so that will tells you that whether all the questionnaire is well known and validated. Because if you in general, if you give any questions to any person, oh, I don't have time, I'll just put one or two or um, neutral. Okay, so who will read these things? Okay, so that is very, that's why you have to validate. If the convex alpha value is less than 6, 0.6, you should not accept this questionnaire for the further analysis. So in the first objectives, that the fisherman opinion about the ministry artificial reef. So here you will find out that overall we have almost 17 questions, and you will find out most of the questionnaires, most of the questions you will find out from this graph is goes to the negative side. So basically they are disagreed. So why they are disagreed the ministry artificial reef project? Because as I told you that most of them have their traditional artificial reef, and there is a might be a communication gap between the fishermen and the ministry people. They don't know where is the ministry they established the artificial reef, because ministry they did not declare till now the locations of actually artificial reef. That is one thing. And they also still the fishermen they still they are rely on their own traditional artificial reef. Okay, so that's why they are basically they are most of the fishermen they are disagreed on the ministry project. Then go to the next that they know about that impact of the artificial reef in the long run that will enhance the fish stock. Here you will find out the most of the question is basically agreed. So as I told you that they are 20 years experience and they are almost not literate. I mean, they are literate. They have high secondary degree, so they know about it. So they, most of the fishermen, they are giving a positive impact on they know about the artificial reef and its impact in the long run in the fisheries productivity. So this is the second objectives. It's also all are agreed. And the last objectives, the fishermen, they willing to part of the management plan of the ministry or not. Okay, so here you will find out all the answers are positive. So it's very obvious that the fishermen, they wants to be part of the management policy, and that is very interesting here. And also the last one question is negative, because the question is the future management plan only government. They said no, no only government, we also be also part with the government. In Oman also we have a very good community participations in the policy making. We have a one functional group that is called Sanat al Bahar. Sanat al Bahar. So Sanat al Bahar is the committee composed by the fishermen and the local community in the Waliyat. Waliyat means that particular districts or the area. Okay, so the community is involved in the management policy. So whenever ministry taking any management policies, that is called royal decree, so that should be passed through the Sanat al Bahar committee first. It need to pass. So if the that policy pass with Sanat al Bahar committee, then it can be approved as a policy, otherwise not. So that's why in Oman we have a very good community participations in the management or the resource management or policy preparations. So that's why all the fishermen, they're willing to part of this management policies. So this about the social part. Overall, we find out, and there is also another aspect. As I told you, the most of the fishermen, they thought about that it's not only aggregation tool, not the fish will come here. It's also enhancing tool. The overall biomass or the catch is enhanced. Okay, so in the ministry area, but in case of tar or the traditional, they thought it is basically aggregation tool. So as I told you that it's not only enhancing an aggregation tool, it is also act as a nursing and breeding ground of this fisheries system. Uh, so next, I think we'll move. I think here is a very good video that will shows you that some of the jubilant fish, but it's, I don't know it will run or not. I don't think so. So here is a that video. My two of undergraduate student, they are work, they have just recently work on this artificial reef. They want to see that how the ecosystem is matured, because we that ecosystem is established in 2020. So in 2026 it is almost finished 5 6 year. So and we did a one study in 2020, and so we want to compare that maturity of the ecosystem and species compositions, how it is enhanced or not. Okay, so we are almost in the process of doing another study on that same ecosystem, on the ecological interaction and the species compositions, and also the as it is not a enhancing tool only. Uh, let's move to the, yeah. So social aspect, I think all those conclusion I already discussed. So these are the same things is written here. Now move to the last part of the whole topic. So here we will talk about the economic aspects of the artificial reef, and we did the study that how tourism is enhanced and boost the economy from the artificial reef. Okay, so it is very interesting study we did here. In we did we find out, or we take all the diver. They are basically diving in the artificial reef area, and how much they are in economic aspect. So we did this whole study, how much they are spending, how overall how much it's gaining. So from this tourism aspects of this artificial reef, how much total surplus productions or surplus economy will coming out from this coral reef ecosystem or artificial reef ecosystem. So in this study, we did the economic and assessment of this whole artificial reef. So we use the recreational value, we use the travel cost method. So overall recreational value means ecological economic aspects of the artificial reef. So a lot of underwater diver or they are basically diving in this artificial reef area for tourism or recreational purposes. Okay, and the species richness is very important. That is also we'll see in the later on. If matured ecosystem or high diversity ecosystem, species rich ecosystem is also preferable for this diver and everyone also. I think so. Okay, so if you diving in ecosystem in a coral reef where there is a very less biodiversity, it will not meet your need. You want to see more. So if you dive in a coral reef where you will find out very bright color and very lot of species, that will obviously the recreational values of this particular ecosystem will enhance a lot. Okay. So we did a survey among the diver. So we have 81 diver in this particular area. So we did a questionnaire survey among them, and we use travel cost methods and consumer surplus methods to estimate the economic value of the artificial reef ecosystem. So we ask the questionnaires and who are going to drive in this both artificial and natural reef in this area, but especially the artificial reef focusing on that. And we have 81 responder. That is very difficult to find out and communicate the diver. So we have to find out very lot of communities who diving communities, underwater diving community. Then we almost able to get information from 81 diver. So here we use the travel cost methods. It's a very means very well known methods in economy. It's basically your number of trip. Number of trip is basically function of your cost and also your social economic status. That XI, that social economic factors, so that will related to different things. It will relate to the gender, then education level, your income level, your other site characteristic. As I told you, that ecosystem is highly rich biodiversity will more value or more trip per year. Okay, so how to calculate this value mean trip per year is basically function of cost and the socio-economic factors, and that socio-economic factors is belongs to different things: income, gender, income, and other side characteristics. So this is the total model that is basically the number of trip. NOT is the number of trip. Number of trip is equals to travel cost, travel time, income of that particular person, education level, age, experience level, diving experience, and reality, and then also ecosystem. I mean that I mean what is called richness of the reef. Okay, so RRL, the richness of the reef, is also very important in times to calculate the number of trips. So this will be that that function can be calculated from cost and the profit. So here socioeconomic characteristics of that whole system, we have find out that total number of trip per month 5. So diver, they are basically usually 5 times they are diving in underwater monthly, and per cost per trip is cost almost 34 Omani Riyal. Here, one Omani Riyal is equal to 0.38 US dollar, or I can say in Indian rupees is one Omani Riyal equals to 235 Indian rupees. Okay, so they are spending 33 or 34 Riyal per trip, and the time they are spending monthly almost 72 hours of the all 5 trips. So 72 hours spending on the monthly experience among the divers. So you will find out it's 0 to 10 years experience, because it's less than 5. So it's 0 to 10 years experience, but it's okay. It can say it's experienced. Okay, and monthly income is almost around 1000 Riyal or 800, more than it's more than 800 Riyal. Okay, monthly income of that particular person or particular diver. Educations, most are basically more than 5, so it's more than bachelor degree they have. All the divers, they have the bachelor degree. Age 0.6 means more than one, means is more than 40%, 40 age. So they are 40, 45 averages of that diver. And richness index of the reef, as I told you, that high rich biodiversity, that will be all obviously very high number of trip. Okay. Now here is the we did that analysis, and we find out overall that consumer surplus from this whole econometric analysis. We find out 39 Omani Riyal per trip. So annual surplus is almost 2000 Omani Riyal from that particular area out of from this artificial reef diving. And total benefit from the whole year annually, total benefit from this artificial reef ecosystem in the whole country is almost 180,000 Omani Riyal. It's a very high. So it is not only give you a fisheries productivity, it is not only gives you that fish enhancer, it is also gives you a huge amount of economic value that is coming from the tourism sector. And that's a huge amount. So, and the richness level of the artificial reef, as I told you, that if it is very high rich, then the consumer surplus is 94 Oman Riyal. It's medium reef richness, it's 83 Oman Riyal. Low rich biodiversity of this ecosystem is 77, and very low, it's basically not even create a lot of biodiversity in that particular area, they are not willing to go there. So overall consumer surplus of that particular 37 Oman Riyal. So obviously very rich ecosystem, obviously preferred by the diver, and they are willing to go there and they want to spend the money on that one. And as a recreational value, that consumer surplus is coming is very high amount, that is adding to the economy of that particular country. So economic assessment of that find out overall that Oman coral reef is basically provided a huge surplus productions, almost 187, 190 thousands Omani Riyal, and that enhance the economy of boost the economy, and then that tourism is increase. Okay. And if you see the tourism statistics in Oman, it's increased, and most of the tourists are basically coming to see that only the reef ecosystem also. So overall conclusion. So I'll go to there. I think this is the conclusion for this economic part. We already discussed. Then this is also yes, this is very important part of this management and recommendation to the ministry. From this study we are giving this recommendation to the ministry, and they will enhance their further import of this uh, artificial reef structure in Oman. As we already found out that the fishermen, they are not willing to support this artificial reef of ministry, because they don't know might be, and there is a communication gap, and also some of the zone is basically no take zone. Fishermen, they are not allowed to catch those particular zones, so that's why there is a gap between ministry people and the fishermen. So that is very good recommendation to the ministry, that that informations where the artificial reefs are there, it should be open to the fishing, and it should not be a no take zone. Might be at the initial stage when the artificial reef is not matured, that should be no take zone, and then after 4 years when it will be matured, then allow them to go for fishing. Okay, because harvestation is also a very good for the resource management, it is also a very good impact. Okay, so that is very interesting, that after 4 years when the ecosystem is matured, allow them to go and capture the fish. Okay, and so these are the some recommendations we send it to the ministry for further assessment or further deployment of the artificial reef in Oman. Uh, I think so. We almost reached at the end. So overall, as I seen that the that overall that sustainability of this whole ecosystem is having the ecological point of view, the species compositions, ecosystem maturity, and then species interactions, and then we have to talk about how the fishermen, they are willing and let the ecosystem to mature, and then allow them for fishing, and then also that enhance the overall uh, environmental impacts, to reduce the environmental impact on that natural reefs. And so those three aspects of this study basically gives you a wide range of experience of social, economic, and the ecological aspects that will address all kind of means questions related to the artificial reef in this region. Okay, so that's all. Thank you. I think I am before the time. Yes, so there's a lot of scope for discussions. Yes.
Yeah.